Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all having a wonderful week so far, and thank you to all those who showed so much love to my Sneaky Snicks. She is an incredible dog. Anyway, it's the middle of the month, so it's time to take a look at what is happening in the general freight market as well as the trucking industry as a whole as of November 2023. We're going to be looking at diesel prices, the freight market volumes and tender rejections, how much volume is getting pushed to the spot market, and comparing the market over the past 5 years. Ready? Let's go! So diesel prices have lately become the source of good news week after week. We can see that as of November, we have slid down another 16 cents per gallon from October, which is amazing. And currently, we're more towards the August levels, right? Now, Sonar usually overestimates the price of diesel. And we can see that according to Sonar, the average is $4.39 per gallon. But if we take a look at the general chart, we can see that diesel prices have been sliding down since around the middle of October, which is amazing. Thank all that is holy. So now looking at the most and least expensive states when it comes to diesel, if we're looking at the price at the pump, of course, California is still the most expensive at $5 and almost $6 per gallon, followed by Washington, Oregon, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. Now, in order to find out the real price per gallon, what we need to also take into consideration is the IFTA tax and basically deduct it from what we pay at the pump to get the real price per gallon. Something that I do want to kind of drag your attention to is California, where the IFTA tax is now over $1. What a surprise. But if we take a look at the real price per gallon, we can see that actually nothing changes. The order is still the same, with California being the most expensive and Pennsylvania being the least expensive. Now, if we take a look at the least expensive states in terms of the price at the pump, we can see it's Texas, which is the cheapest, followed by Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, and South Carolina. But together with the IFTA tax, the order changes. We can see that Georgia is actually the cheapest, then Texas, then Mississippi, South Carolina, and then Louisiana. So basically something to remember, which has been true over the past 2 years, maybe even before that, but I never really kept track back then, is that West Coast and East Coast will be the worst places you can get diesel because they're the most expensive, whereas the South and the Midwest usually will offer better opportunities when it comes to diesel. Now let's take a look at the past 5 years when it comes to the Outbound Tender Rejection Index. Again, if you cannot see this, these charts will be attached down below. So in terms of the rejection index, all these lines represent different years. Here's the key right here. We are the bottom blue line. And something we can see right away is despite the fact that we're pretty much in the middle of holiday season, we are at the lowest rejection rate in the last 5 years. But that is not the upsetting part. The upsetting part, if you take a look, except for 2022, this is when rejections usually are going up. This year and last year, rejections are flat. Now, if we take a look at a similar chart, but now focusing on the total freight volume available in the market, this colored blue line, this is us right now. So we are right here. And we can see we're somewhere in the middle, higher than 2018, 2019, and 2022 levels, but lower, of course, than 2020 and 2021 levels. I'm going to repeat myself here because some people are so hopeful, which is a wonderful quality, but it's not based in reality. People are so hopeful that the market is going to return to 2020 and 2021 levels. The volumes that we saw, the green and orange line, in 2020 and 2021, which happens to be the root cause of the issues we're seeing today, this was a one-time thing. Now, unless there is another lockdown or somehow magically every single person in the US becomes a billionaire, that's a nice idea, we are not going to see such a huge jump, a sudden jump in volume to these levels anytime soon or possibly ever. Now, it's possible that eventually, over years and years and years, volumes will go up to this point, but it's never going to be a sudden jump like we saw. If you look at this orange line, it's not going to look like this. This was due to COVID lockdowns. Now, if we look here, we can see here's the volume, here's the rejection, and this is month over month from October 13th until November 13th. Volumes actually did go up by 5% over the past month, and rejections unfortunately went down by almost 11% month over month. So how has the market changed from October 13th to November 13th? Let's take a look of a quick video of the changes in the market over the past month. Pay attention to Arizona and California in terms of volumes and the Pacific Northwest in terms of rejections. In general, I have to say that this playback that we just saw, it leaves much to be desired. Yeah, there were changes, of course, on a daily basis in the market, but there were no significant spikes in volume or rejection, despite the fact that we are in holiday season right now. Now let's take a look at how the market has changed over the past 5 years, what it looked like around this time of year every year from 2018 to now 2023. Starting with 2018. So in 2018, one thing I can tell you is that the good markets were close together and there were a lot of them. So there was not much deadheading you had to do in order to get to a better market unless you were somewhere in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, or Montana. Now, if we look at 2019, right here, we can see that it was still interesting, not as good as 2018, nowhere close, but the good areas were still kind of clustered in the Midwest, although everywhere else you had to do a little bit more deadhead. All right, 2020 right here. Well, what can I say? There was absolutely no situation in which you could lose because look at this map. Good areas pretty much everywhere except for Montana, New Mexico, Arizona, and maybe parts of Texas. Everywhere else, it was an opportunity that you could grab. I mean, look at this damn thing. I remember 2020, it was a good time, especially towards holiday season. All right, 2021, still a good market. We can see it did contract a little bit, and the better areas were the Midwest and the South. But nevertheless, I mean, the bad areas, they did kind of grow a little bit, but if you knew how to stay here, which was relatively easy to do, you were golden. Now let's take a look at 2022. Well, 2022, yeah, there are some areas in the Midwest that are doing well, but you can see the market is kind of spreading out with gaps in between, meaning that now you have to deadhead more in order to get to those better areas, right? Like you have to deadhead here, you have to deadhead here. From the East Coast, you have to deadhead a lot. So it started spreading out. Now, 2023, the market contracted, the rejection rates are much lower, and we can see that the Midwest is the place where you can grab relatively better opportunities. Everywhere else, it's kind of a hit or miss. Now let's talk about some numbers. Usually in these videos, I take you through these numbers right here, the highs of volumes and rejections every single year, but instead we're going to be looking at averages using these maps right here. So here we have the years, the volume index, the rejection percentage, and then we'll talk about this in just a moment. In terms of volumes, we can see that right here, we're doing better than 2018, 2019, and 2022, right? So that's good. But in terms of rejections, we are at the lowest point in the last 5 years. So I always say that it's not just rejection levels and not just volumes that matter when trying to understand what kind of volume is getting pushed to the spot market. Both of them matter. So what I did was, in order to show you what kind of volume is on the spot market, I just multiplied the volume index by the rejection rate, these averages, and here's what we have. So you can see the highest volume on the spot market happened in 2020, 4,085. The lowest volume is in 2023, 404, lower than 2022, and lower than 2019. Now, this is not surprising because if we look here, the rejection and the volume was at its highest in 2020. Whereas here, even though the volume is pretty decent, the rejection is at the lowest point. So if you're still wondering why rates are so crap all around, this is the only chart you have to see. Authorities, blue line, freight volumes, green line. This is from 2018. Yes, what we can see right now is that the gap is closing because the market is correcting itself. It's just correcting itself extremely slowly. But what we can also see is based on this volume. If we just do a line here, there we go. It's somewhere here, right, in 2020. Look at the amount of carriers that were present in 2020. Currently, the amount of authorities we have is about 41% higher than we saw here, despite the fact that the volumes are the same. So that's all you need to know about why the rates are so crap right now. Now, I know that at the end of each video, I usually do a sit down with you guys and we talk about everything we've discussed throughout the video, but I think in this one, it's pretty clear what's going on. I think we're all on the same page for the most part. So you know what? I'm wishing you guys an amazing rest of your week. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.